Hello there, what is going on, everybody? Today we're talking about some battle forces that we need to see that they just might be announcing at Adepticon. I also want to hear from you guys. What battle forces do you think Star Wars Legion is going to see announced at Adepticon at the big studio reveal? We are just weeks or days away, depending on when you are watching this, from Atomic Mass Games' big studio reveal. And of course, they're going to lay out some of their plans for the rest of 2025 and into 2026, presumably. And among those are a lot of potential battle forces that have not yet been announced, along with all of the other standalone new expansions and all of the reprints and possibly new rules and other formats and all sorts of interesting things. Also, we're still doing a new round of the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that to enter to win. If you're already subscribed, you're already halfway there. Let's go ahead and dive into these. And the first one I'm going to jump into. And if you want to pause the video and let me know some of your predictions, what you think I'm going to talk about in this video before I get to it, let me know. We'll see which ones you get right. Because I've just picked 9. And I should have just done one more and made it a top 10 video, but I didn't want this to be a top 10 because I'm sure there's plenty really good ones that maybe I missed. But these were the first ones that came to mind when I sat down. First one that comes to mind is the Geonosians, because we already have Geonosians. Will Schick promised us a Geonosian battle force to come out shortly after the Geonosians. Where's the Geonosian battle force? I think they've probably been waiting for just this moment, and I think that they're probably just like a unit or two away. Because Geonosians already work well as a Geonosian sort of build if you're running them with Separatists and your B2s and things like that. But if you wanted to run a Geonosian battle force, what would make that battle force feel like it was all Geonosians? And I think you just need more units for that. And because if you're just going to put droids and stuff in there, well, you just run a regular Separatist unit. So I think they opted to wait until it felt right. And that's, I think it's coming. Maybe something was delayed. Maybe a turret was all messed up and they had to send it back to the drawing board. Maybe there was zombie Geonosians. Maybe there's a queen. Who knows? There's so much stuff that the Clone Wars gave us to expand upon the Geonosian culture that I feel like that's definitely something that, for one, it's already been promised, so it's overdue. So that one's not as much of a guess. Moving forward, Andor Season 2, just around the corner. I think ISB is definitely something that should happen. There's not a ridiculous amount of Imperial battle forces that thematically make sense, primarily because they're already sort of all working under the same banner. You can go with specific units, like in with the Republic, how you have you have some there. You have a lot of different numbered, and all of that stuff. But in the Empire, it's a little bit harder to come up with recognizable battle force identities. And I think between Star Wars Rebels having a little bit, ISB already being an established sort of branch of the Empire, and then with everything that's going to be in Andor, that was already in Andor Season 1, and then potentially Andor Season 2, having a lot of focus on ISB and stuff like that. I feel like it's a good time to be able to do that. It also gives Callus a place where maybe he can shine a little bit more. He's supposed to be getting a rework, so it could also factor into that. And you could even take some other sort of elite units like maybe Inferno Squad and give them a spot in there. Maybe they're special tasked to the ISB for this. We haven't seen Wolf Yularen announced yet, and there are certainly a lot of other Imperial brass, so to speak, with General Tag and of course Grand Admiral Thrawn and Tarkin that are all coming. It could work. I think it could really work. We're also going to be seeing Krennic in Andor Season 2, and he's also going to be in that same pack. So maybe in ISB Battle Forces actually in the works. Maybe it's closer to reality than we think. Moving forward, Saw Gerrera and his partisans, I feel, is something that really needs to happen. I have complained a couple of times. I say complained, but maybe nitpicked is a better word, for Rebel Corps, Rebel Infantry. The Rebellion has so many units that look the same, and here is a great opportunity for some really cool foundational core units for the Rebels that don't look the same. They definitely don't. And this would be awesome. I would love to see Saw's partisans. I would love to see a battle force dedicated to Saw Gerrera and how he likes to do battle. It could use some rebel stuff in there, like, you know, a speeder and you know, like a land speeder, a lot of cool stuff like that. It seems like it's a no-brainer to me. I'm surprised that we haven't seen it yet. So Gerrera would be perfect for a game of Legion, especially with the higher victory point count. I've always wanted to see a version of Saw Gerrera that is sort of like Bounty, but in the other way. He has a command card that does something strong, but instead of you gaining a victory point, your opponent gains a victory point. So maybe you're able to like obliterate a whole unit, but you're at the cost of losing sympathy, losing the people. You know, he lets his aggression go to his head, and he loses the people because he's so violent. And like that could be interpreted by your opponent actually getting a victory point, but maybe it's worth it because this is such a powerful, like such a critical juncture. I don't know, stuff like that. It just seems like something Saw Gerrera would do. Seems like it would fit my playstyle really well too, because I am all about blowing things up, and it's fun, even at the cost of the game. I want to have fun more than I want to win, and so I think Saw Gerrera would be like one of my buddies in a game of Legion. So like this would be really cool. And again, it would give a break to the monotony of like having, one of my issues is like Rebel Troopers and then Rebel Commandos, and then also the new, the newest Sleeper Cell. Like they all kind of look so much the same. Like, hey, we're guys with trench coats, and I recognize the irony because it looks like Two Tubes here is technically wearing a trench coat, but that's not their identity at all. They're definitely known for like the facial apparatus and all of the that terrorizing look. They look scary as hell. They're like one of the coolest looking groups of rebels that have ever graced the screen. Definitely, let's get Saw Gerrera's partisans in there. Come on, man, let's do it. Up next, they're not scary. Well, maybe they are, but they're also amazing. The Witches of Dathomir. They're a little scary, but also a little mysterious. Love to have an entire Dathomir battle force. Wouldn't necessarily have to only be witches either, because there are Knight Brothers on Dathomir. This could be a battle force that does allow for Maul and Savage Opress, who we've already seen kind of hinted as a possibility. We already have, of course, Asajj Ventress. We could have, sword dual-wielding melee Night Sisters. We could have archers as our ranged. We could have 2 core options for this. Like, this could be a massive battle force. You could have zombie Night Sisters. You've got magic. You've got, of course, you could do Rancors. And again, I think need to do Rancors anyway. Need to do a Rancor model, because they need to have Boba Fett riding a Rancor too. And while I don't know if he would fit into a bounty hunter battle force, or if he'd just be his own thing. I don't know, but I think they do a Rancor expansion. You put you put multiple riders on there so you can magnetize them or something like that, and you have Boba Fett on there or a Night Sister, or maybe you don't have to magnetize them. Maybe they just kind of drop in as a replaceable kind of piece, kind of like how they've done with the ATST and stuff like that. But a Dathomir, it would just be incredible. Plus, you also have other named characters, like with the video games and stuff like that, and the Jedi Fallen Order and all of that. You got Marin, and you've got all of these, a lot of Night Sister stuff, and there's no end in sight, especially with Ahsoka, giving you even more, and the Blade of Talzin and all this other stuff. All like a lot of really cool stuff could work. I mean, and Ahsoka season 2 is gonna happen, and like this is gonna be real popular. So I really hope these guys get announced, or these wonderful ladies and their Night Brothers as well get announced. Night Sisters, Night Brothers, Mother Talzin, Asajj, Maul, Savage, and more, and Rancors and zombies and magic and green and red, and it's just it'd be cool. It'd be really cool. Coming up next, they've said that we might not see anything else for Shadow Collective, but that doesn't rule out that we couldn't see Pike Syndicate or something like that. So I'm saying Pike Syndicate specifically. Will Schick had kind of hinted about this in an interview, and I think as soon as I saw this, these were the big Scorpionic walkers. There were 2 of them in the Book of Boba Fett. It was just like, oh my gosh, 2 heavies in a Legion-sized battle. When the finale of Book of Boba Fett was so good as a Legion player. From a Star Wars Legion perspective, it was amazing because it was like this is a game of Star Wars Legion. This is what Legion's all about. This is the perfect size, the perfect scale, and it was incredible. However, we still don't have these guys yet. I thought they would have worked perfect in Shadow Collective. I thought it would have been perfect, Pike unit for Shadow Collective, but maybe they don't want to do any more Shadow Collective stuff. I think that's silly, but maybe that's what they, I don't know. Maybe they're just stuck at the drawing block and they can't do more Shadow Collectives. Or maybe there's a licensing reason why they can't. But they could also opt to do a Pike Syndicate specific faction. You got some new Pikes in here, some really good close-up looks at different leaders and stuff like that. And of course you got these wonderful, wonderful things. So I think it could work. I mean, between the Clone Wars, and this, I think you get a lot of really cool Pike stuff. So it could totally work. Or they could just throw them in Shadow Collective, which would be the best option in my opinion. Or do both. Make a Pike Syndicate and also make these guys work with Shadow Collective. And maybe they work a little bit better with Pike Syndicate because maybe there's a Pike Commander who gives these guys a special order. Again, I'm all about that. Like, give me options. Sure, make it better for the Battle Force it's supposed to go with, but still give me the option to run it, even if it's suboptimal, because fun is more important than optimizing. To me, I'd rather optimize my fun than optimize my dice. Although I like dice too. I like more dice. Give me lots of dice. All right, so that's the Pike Syndicate. Moving forward for Separatists, how about a Techno Union Battle Force? I'm surprised we don't have Wat Tambor yet, especially with Clone Wars Season 7. He was a big Techno Union focus. It seemed like we've got the Bad Batch already. And they were kind of introduced to us with this big raid on a Techno Union fortress, and we saw like those new aerial droids that Wat Tambor had would be a perfect look. Maybe having core with jump or special forces. There might be special forces. They might be core. I mean, they could do whatever you want, however they want to put those guys in the game. But yeah, give us Wat Tambor. It's another commander for you. Give us those aerial droid troopers, and then you can use some other stuff for the Techno Union as well. That just works. That just works really well. To me, it's a no-brainer. I don't think there's too many Separatist battle forces that you can go with, but that's definitely one of them. You got it's a lot easier to do these guys than like the Banking Clan or whatever. Like that would be save that for like worst Battle Force ideas ever. Put the Banking Clan in there, and you just have a whole bunch of those old guys and like handing out loans. I don't know, with Camtonos full of Beskar and stuff. It'd be funny. That would be funny. Be a good April Fool's video idea, right? All right. All right, moving forward. How about for the Empire, the Inquisitorius? Look, we've seen, we saw Inquisitors introduced in Star Wars Rebels, but we've seen a lot more out of Inquisitors in the video games, and then, of course, in Kenobi. I think between all three of those, between Rebels, between Kenobi, and the video games, like Jedi Fallen Order and all of that, there's a lot of potential for Inquisitors. I mean, we've seen we also saw Maruk or whatever in Ahsoka, but it's not just specific Inquisitors. It's also an opportunity to bring in all the other stuff. Look, they already did Riot Troopers. If you look at things that were working for the Inquisitors in like Jedi Fallen Order, I think if you do an Inquisitorius thing, you can kind of take all of the stuff that we saw in Jedi Fallen Order and maybe make a couple extra Inquisitors also. It'd be a really cool option. You could even make the Inquisitorius like self-governed, like maybe Vader isn't a part of it, right? Maybe like, and that's the whole idea, is he doesn't have to come in and like micromanage them, because they are supposed to be getting the job done 99% of the time. So maybe, it's a way to, to basically force, because the problem with a lot of Imperial battle forces are like Vader can kind of lead almost all of them. He did like Vader's Fist or something like that. You can have Vader everywhere. Here's an opportunity to, and of course Vader could lead these too if you wanted that to happen. But here's a great opportunity to have a lot of red lightsabers that don't involve Darth Vader. And you can also put like shock troopers and a lot of the, you know, some of the, you know, riot sorority in there. You could do standalone K2 series as well. There's a lot of different options you could do for this if you're really looking at the video games, and as well as Kenobi. And of course, you can put stormtroopers in there too. You can put stormtroopers in most things, so that works as well. But it'd be a really fun one, especially if it gave us more Inquisitor sculpts between all of the different Inquisitors that we've seen. I really want, I think it was Second Sister. You know, the from Jedi Fallen Order. You know, there's some really cool ones that I'd love to see show up. So I think Inquisitorius would be a pretty cool battle force, and I don't think we've seen the last of Inquisitors showing up on screen either. So I think we'll see more, and it's just, you know, it's just cool. It's just really cool. Plus, we don't have Grand Inquisitor yet, so you know, we need to get all of those things. I mean, we have 2 Inquisitors so far though, so that's cool. That is cool. All right, moving forward. Rogue One. Come on. How do we not have a Rogue One battle force yet? Baze and Chirrut need to be in this game. Like, the mechanics are all there for them to work. It could be a pack where they can run by themselves. Maybe Chirrut's the leader and Baze is the counterpart. You do a counterpart card, or maybe you give them each heavies and they can go into something. Maybe they can be a special heavy that can be that 3rd Pathfinder heavy. So again, you've only got 2 Pathfinder heavies. You can't really run 3 Pathfinders unless you're going to run one with no heavy, and what's the fun in that? Give Baze and Chirrut a special card or a special things like, hey, if these guys go into a Pathfinder unit, you can also take, you know, Baze without it counting against the, you know, the thing. Like, there's a lot of ways that you could run them. So do a Baze and Chirrut pack, or do an entire Rogue One pack, giving us some other ones, like give us Melshi. Although there's already a model that's kind of designed to look like Melshi, but if they're resculpting them all, then maybe they leave that one out and make Melshi his own separate character, because he was also in Andor Season 1. And also in Rogue One. So again, you know, there's a lot to work with here. There's a lot of other characters we could do, and of course, this one could also pair well with some of the stuff. Like, you know, they're not working with Saw Gerrera directly, but you know, it'd still be kind of cool. And what if we got a Borg Gullet? Also, that goes back to partisans a little bit. So this is a separate one. Again, there's a whole lot that you could do here, and people really want these 2 in game. And I always think, you know, the new Rebel Heavy for Rebel Troopers has a weapon that looks a little bit like a slimmed down version of Baze Malbus's super big awesome gun. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if they, you know, sculpting that, they're like, yeah, but wait till we get to do Baze. I just feel like these 2 are coming, and I think they're coming soon. And the final battle force is, of course, I had to save the best for last. And you know me, I'm a big fan. I'm a proponent of Gungans coming into the game. And of course, Gungans should have a battle force. So yes, absolutely, Gungans should be there. Maybe the battle force gives them the big shield. Maybe they can work with the Republic normally. Again, they were at more than just the Battle of Naboo. They also, you know, helped out the Mon Cala and all of that stuff too. But yeah, I mean, we need Geonosians to be announced first, but then we also need the Geonosian battle force. Maybe this one's supposed to come at the same time. I say Geonosians, Gungans. We need Gungans announced first, and then we also need the Gungan battle force. I'm thinking Geonosians because they were, again, these 2 were first. They were the first 2 that were ever hinted at as being sub factions before they were called battle forces. And I always thought that Gungans and Geonosians would be coming out at the same time. So sometimes I get the G names crisscrossed in my head. It's early onset dementia, folks. It just happens when you become, you know, when you become old like me. All right, so those are some of my thoughts for battle forces that should come to Star Wars Legion. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to be announced at Adepticon? What do you think Atomic Mass is going to announce for Star Wars Legion? Let me know down in the comment section below. Plus, you can join our Discord. Links are in the video description below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. The spice must flow. You can't take the sky from me. Be excellent to each other, and always wash your socks.